Miss.
Hi, Mishka.
So, Miss, my first question to you is: how do you define the importance of like the tendu in ballet technique, especially for young and aspiring dancers?
Okay, so in my opinion, I think tendus is an extremely important exercise, and all of ballet, if you think about it, encompasses either the plie or the tendu. And as my mom said, if you can do an amazing plie and an amazing tendu, then there you go. That's the foundation for all ballet. Because any step that's going to come, if you think about it, either you land on your fondu or your plie, or you're going to do your tendu, or that will lead on to your glissé, or jeté, or grand battement. So it's either an extension or a plie. So tendu is very, very important.
And Miss, can you describe any key elements that contribute to like a precise and controlled tendu?
So let's maybe say when you do a battement tendu, firstly you need good postural awareness and good alignment. Okay, so like in ballet you have your hips, your shoulders, everything aligned one on top of the other like a building block. And whether you extend your leg in front, devant, deli at the back, or a la seconde, everything should remain square. So as you do your battement tendu, I think one of the key features should be that it needs to be very well placed in whichever direction, and the importance of going through the floor and the articulation of the foot, because that's what's going to give you strength eventually when you jump.
Yeah.
Are we getting into faults on this one or another one?
Sorry, Miss?
Are we getting into key faults on this question or another one?
I think another one was, yeah. Okay, and Miss, are there any common challenges or mistakes that dancers make while learning to perform tendus, and how do you address them?
Absolutely. So one is, like we just said, the tendu is not aligned, lack of turnout, like in a lot of things in ballet, you can relate to that. Then people, the most common thing I think when you're teaching somebody is they start bending their knee. So the knee bends a little and then it stretches, and when you come back it's mostly straight and then it bends. So that importance of pulling up not only on the walking leg but the supporting leg, and articulation with the floor, or else the tendu tends to slightly lift off the floor, which is what should not happen. A tendu should go through, brush through the demi point just to the tip of the toe, and then coming back, think of the toe leading on the way back, so you maintain your toe out with completely locked and pulled up knees.
And so, Miss, is there like the role of the upper body, like locking your abdomen, or?
You got that right. Absolutely. For all ballet, you have to squeeze your core, hold your abs, squeeze your glutes, and just basically pull up, regardless of any step that you do. I think
so. Muscle strength is super important.
Absolutely. It cannot just be the foot.
Yeah. And so, Miss, from your perspective, how important is it, for dancers to have a strong foundation in tendus as they progress in ballet? Because, as you mentioned in the beginning, if you know plie and tendu, you can...
Exactly. Yeah. So, if you don't have a good tendu, then you're not going to have a good glissé, a good jeté, a good grand battement. You're not going to be able to kick. You're not going to have the strength to do something, for example, like a glissade in the center. How are you going to brush into a jeté or an assemblée? It literally all comes down to the tendu. So it's extremely important.
Miss, do you have any tips or tricks that you would like to share with regards to maintaining a good and balanced tendu?
So I guess just approach what you're doing with a lot of care and concentration. Maybe in the beginning when you're teaching someone and you have access to a mirror, maybe take them to that mirror and show them the placement and how it should be done. And just lots of exercises where rather than go super fast, you're going slowly. Maybe you can start by just brushing the leg into a fourth position and brushing it back, so you're just getting that much of the floor pressure, and then maybe extend the leg to the toe, and then you can keep your leg extended and then maybe just go to demi point and point. And these are all obviously not the whole tendu but bits of the tendu, so that you've then worked on your metatarsals, and then when you come back then you can close the whole thing and then slide the whole thing out. So maybe be a little bit more aware of the different parts of your foot that you're using and have a visual aid to help in the beginning.
And Miss, have you seen any dancers face any tears in the foot, or like specifically in the ligament and the tendon, or any other injuries?
Oh, so Mishka, personally, touch wood, not a lot of people in the school really,
Yeah.
simply because we don't do that much, and
Yeah.
we don't just keep repeating stuff. And I don't think anything's really going to happen with a baton or tendu per se. It's the most injuries happen, I think, when people jump. Yeah, they land wrongly, or maybe they're not warmed up sufficiently. But yeah, we do have a few people said, Miss, I hurt my tendon or my ligament, but it may not necessarily have been through ballet. They could have played a sport, but it's not common in dancers. At some point, it could happen.
So, Miss, you mentioned like warm up and having a good cool down. So, any maybe tips that you would like to share for that? Like, how should dancers warm up sufficiently before class and then cool down after, so that their body is kind of maintained?
So I think firstly they should come to class on time. Everyone not only doesn't come on time, they come late.
Yeah.
So for example, if you're working towards an exam, where's the time to now then do warm up again, and then you're just jumping into the class, and at lower levels it's okay, but at some point I think it's not good for you, because your body physically needs to do a little bit of warm up. So ideally dancers should come to the studio at least 15 minutes before, start doing their own stretches and warm up prior to class starting. Then at the class time, maybe the teacher will do a follow me warm up for 10 minutes, and then one should start the bar, not just like that. It's really not advisable.
Yeah, and I think with most of my research that I've done also kind of states that you must have, like, you must be properly warmed up before you start, so that you don't have any injuries or any risk with regards to that.
And in our country, we think warm up because the sun is shining and we are sweating, so we have already warmed up. That's not the case. It's internal warm up. Yeah, but we're still at an advantage than if you're shivering in the cold. That's
Yeah. And Miss, what are some effective strategies for dancers to maintain flexibility while also building strength, particularly in their ligaments and tendons, because that's something that's used a lot when you do the tendu.
So I think in general, what you mentioned was absolutely a good point, that a dancer's flexibility and strength should be built side by side. So sometimes what tends to happen with younger kids, or I feel some gymnasts, that they are pushed into doing splits, and because as a child you're naturally flexible and they can do all these things, but then they take their leg up and they catch it, which is great. Now you ask them, lift your hand away, can you maintain that strength of catching your leg by your side? So then what's going to happen, you're just going to be really flexible but not have any strength to hold up what you're doing. On the other side, not so apparent, but if you just keep very strong and you keep doing all those things but you never stretch, then you're going to become stiff. So it's very important that you have a good mix of strength and flexibility working side by side.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Miss, just in general, can you share like a memorable moment or like an anecdote from your career that illustrates like the transformative power of ballet on a dancer's life?
So there's nothing particular that I can think of right now, Mishka, but just generally through years of experience, and I'm going to quote my mom in this one, that all the people that left her ballet classes at some point and moved on in life, like they thanked her not only for teaching me ballet, but what ballet brought into their lives, whether it was discipline or whether it was punctuality, or it was just like another way of life, and all the values without giving a moral science bhashan. They just loved it and they just learned so many things from it. So I think it's an amazing art form. I mean, hopefully you have felt a few things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming to class, making your hair, standing in line, doing what you're told. Like, I mean, who does all that in life? Nobody cares.
Yeah.
So yeah, it has this amazing ability, I think, to make you a very alert and well-rounded human being if you choose to be one. Yeah. And hopefully you love it and enjoy it, and that's why you do it.
Yeah. And Miss, what advice would you give to young dancers who are maybe interested in pursuing a career in ballet, considering both the artistic and physical demands of the profession?
Yeah, so yes, if you want to be a professional dancer, it is a lot of hard work. Demanding is, to put it understatement.
Yeah.
Physically and as you said, mentally. Firstly, if you want to take this up professionally, you would audition mostly as a child or when you're 10, 11, 12, and then they really at the audition really see whether you have 180-degree turnout, whether your leg can go up here, whether you have almost an ideal body. I mean, none of us do, but all like the range of thing is good. Then they're like, okay, it's like good crop. We can a good tree will come from that. So then they take that body and then they say, fine, we will train this body. And then on top of that, that's just a body now. You have to have your own artistic expression and your musicality and all of that. Sorry, what was the question again?
So, Miss, if it's just any advice that you would have for young dancers who aspire to take it up, from your
Got
career
it.
and
So first you have to have all this to do it.
Yeah.
But then you have to have a lot of dedication, because you're going to be doing the same thing day in and day out. There's no chance of getting bored. A lot of repetition, a lot of, if you heard this word in life nowadays, where you can get really far, not only through discipline but through consistency. So if you want to be that runner, you have to get up and run every day. Doesn't matter, some days you don't feel like it, but you push yourself and you do it, and that's what's going to get you far. So I think you have to be a very disciplined and consistent person, and more than anything have that love and that desire to succeed no matter what, and not get disheartened, because the competition is so great. That yes, there are always going to be people better than you, but are you better than what you were yesterday? And obviously, because it's a competitive field you're entering into, you'll have to be at a certain level, but be very aware of what you do things and do them properly so that you don't injure yourself.
And Miss, above, you mentioned like a little bit about like the drills, like maybe dancers could try for tondus, but do you know any specific exercises that you find are really effective in helping really strengthen those leg muscles?
So I would go back to basics as a little primary, and I just stretch our legs out on the floor and flex our feet up, and then just lock your knees up and then go through your feet and turn up, and like really stretch your ankles and your toes, and then repeat this again and turn out. So you're really strengthening the backs of your legs and your ankles and your feet. And then the one standing at the bar where you do your your exercise for feet and warm up. So that's to get your metatarsals going, and then obviously in a tondi you have to keep your knees straight. So just slow extensions going out and in. Not a lot, very basic. Less is more, what they say.
Yeah. And Miss, do you perceive, I know of course you mentioned like the values of discipline and perseverance in like a dancer, so how do you perceive that, like those principles in a dancer's journey from like a student to like a professional?
So a student as in a professional, you mean as in taking it up for
like for a career.
Yeah, so hopefully those values will hold you in good stead, because then as a student, that's what you're learning, but as a professional now, that's what you choose to do, hopefully for a major part of your life, if not forever. So that should have like a knock-on effect, and then obviously you're almost veering to be an adult, so then it's up to you whether you want to do it. But imagine if you're a professional dancer and you come late for a rehearsal and a show, how is that going to be? So that's your responsibility. How is it if you don't come for the morning ballet class because you couldn't wake up and you didn't want to? You wouldn't, right? So all those things are already inculcated into you as a student, and then obviously it naturally helps you progress into your professional career.
And Miss, do you have any advice, with regards to like the nutrition aspect? So obviously being a dancer, demands that you have a balanced diet or you drink a certain amount of water. So Miss, on that side, do you have any?
You just said the words, Nishka. So yeah, I think drinking plenty of water is amazing, and I just recently discovered it myself. Lots of people have said it, and I found when I didn't drink enough water, my own personal experience, my head used to pain, I used to get headaches. Now I just have copious amounts of water. I have a lovely jug which I really like. Of course, I'm going to the toilet a lot more than I did, but I think that really helps to flush everything. And balanced diet is key. So, and really, one should avoid junk food because it just tastes good, but it's so not good for you. It's not going to give you any substance. It's not going to give you any energy. There's no substance in it. So you do need a certain amount of carbs. Otherwise, where are you going to get your energy from? And you know, everyone here is still young. It's like adults, you say skip your carbs in the night and all of that. But as a dancer, you are putting in so much energy. It's not like you're just sitting sedentary, right? You're jumping, you're moving, you're physically working. So you need your proteins and your vegetables, or and your proteins will be your chicken, fish, dal, all of that. Your vegetables and your salads. Then you have your carbs, which are either your rice or your chapati or your bread. So yeah, a little bit and a certain amount of fat also they say is good, like maybe olive oil or almonds or something, because that's what's going to give you energy. And maybe have what do you say, food at like a little regular interval rather than I ate it in the morning and now I'm not eating the whole day and I have a big dinner. I don't think that really helps. At least for me, you should have and like maybe a little snack. It doesn't have to be a lot of things, but you're never feeling so hungry that then you go and you just absolutely gorge on everything when you wouldn't have normally if you had. And if you had drunk a lot of water, it would have felt quite full.
And this also, I mean, how important for you is posture in ballet? Because I know personally I really struggle with my posture. So
posture is key. Bad posture, no ballet possible. 100%, because it's like the basis of everything. No, it's your spinal column. You know how important that is for us to stand and sit, right? Imagine if we didn't have one, we'd just fall. So you need that, and to always have your correct weight placement, which is slightly forward on the balls of your feet. These two things is only how ballet is going to be possible. Otherwise, it's not really. I mean, it is, but you're going to really enjoy yourself and not be on the ball.
And Miss, my last question to you is that ballet demands, a lot of stage presence, a lot of performance. So maybe like, for dancers who are a little more on the introverted side and, who may feel a little scared to really put themselves out there. So do you have anything to say on that front, just like a recommendation for them, how to gain confidence and to mentally be prepared, for that kind of a stage performance?
So what age group are we looking at?
Maybe like, teenagers to adults.
Okay. So, yes, there are some kids like that. They love their ballet class, but they don't necessarily like to be to a wider audience. I think that's probably in the minority. A lot of kids, their dream is to be on stage and perform for people. But for those ones who are a little introverted, I guess just gently introduce them and maybe not put them in the front line or give them too much of, where they feel that they're not being out in the public and glare, kind of, maybe gently break them in. Again, I'm thinking of a younger kid. An older one, I guess you just have to talk about, ballet is a performing art and isn't it so lovely? And then don't just think of yourself, but think about the joy that you give people watching you, which is what a performing art is about.
Yeah.
And then hope for the best.
Yeah, Miss, so I think that was, that's the end of this. I mean, those are all the questions that I had, just want to chat with you about.
Lovely.
And so, Miss, do you have anything else that you wanted to share?
So just to conclude your thesis, I think it's a lovely idea that you thought of, and can't emphasize enough exactly how important battement tendu and a plie for that matter is important to the whole structure of ballet.
Yeah.
So wish you all the best.
Thank you, Miss. Thank you.